Hi. Okay, it's almost 5 in the morning, and I started getting a download in the middle of the night. Anyway, I got up before 3:30, started writing whatever was pouring into my head, and had a little cry. So my eyes are always puffy in my videos. So I'm gonna just start reading what I wrote, and then we'll see where it goes. I don't even know if I'll have the balls to put this up, but everywhere I look, I see people hurting themselves with fighting a large chunk of other people about what they think is the truth. They are so sure that they are willing to look like total assholes and turn their back on their own divinity, go against their nature of love, and hurt people with words. They're no more than fighting robots. I found it ironic, people calling each other bots, doing it to be mean, but there was truth in it. The arrogance of these people being somehow so sure of their opinions that they consider it fact, and they're so emotionally charged up by this, they are pure hate to me. All it does is create more hatred. All their hate can ever do is bring hate out in others. The law of attraction is always at work. Even people who are pretty good at loving all sides are having a hard time staying loving. I'm including myself in that. We just want to say, shut the fuck up. There are 40,000 or more sealed indictments right now. People, victims of sexual abuse, even what they are calling satanic ritual abuse, which is abbreviated as SRA, are coming out in droves. Others are abusing them by calling them liars and saying they just want attention. This isn't the #MeToo movement where some women are saying someone 40 freaking years ago in a drunken stupor touched a boob once. Does that suck? Yes. Is it worth everyone's attention en masse? No. Maybe just your family. Just tell them. Okay, I'm sorry for whatever you went through, but there's big stuff happening. There are people actually are enslaved right now. There are people in other countries that are actual slaves. There a guy in Iran was kissing his girlfriend, teaching her how to drive. It might have been Saudi Arabia, I don't remember. Anyway, got arrested. He got arrested for teaching his girlfriend how to drive. This is happening, okay? This is really happening. The sexual abuse and SRA claims of minor children is a big deal. You don't ever have to believe anyone. The fifth agreement, like the 4 agreements, the fifth agreement is be skeptical, but learn to listen. I used to hurt myself with how other people hurt themselves. As I poured my little heart out to my friend Carly, she would beg me to read that book. I've only even gotten to like page 18 or something in the book. Not even to the 5th agreement, but I need to tell you all, you are breaking the world with your hate. That word hate for me used to be like the word Voldemort in the Harry Potter series. Dumbledore, quite possibly the coolest character ever created, refused not to say it. The other people wouldn't say Voldemort because it was too scary, but Dumbledore never let it have power over him by not saying it. Hate is Voldemort. It is ripping apart our world right now. So many people siding up against each other, so sure that the news that they've chosen to listen to is the correct source, when there's tons of fucking news out there. There's so many people in the world. There are so many people in the world each having their own experience. I do this thing on Twitter where I call out irony or hypocrisy, whatever you want to call it. in a way that amuses myself. So I'll see something, and then I'll just say, my favorite part is, and I amuse myself with this. And Whoopi Goldberg has been an easy and consistent target. Trump is a misogynist, but Roman Polanski drugging and raping a 13-year-old girl in Jack Nicholson's hot tub isn't rape. It's not rape, even though he was convicted. When you're skeptical but you learn to listen to all the shit that so many people in Hollywood seem to have gotten away with, or all the incredibly suspicious deaths of children and adults, keep in mind, I'm not taking sides here, but again, Whoopi, who used to be, she used to be easy for me to love. Oh, Sister Act. Ghost, I finally saw that way after, but Whoopi used to be so easy for me to love. Now I use her as training for me to practice my Renegade Yogi principles. I bless you, I forgive you, I respect your free will choices to wear a t-shirt with Trump's brains getting blown out of his head, and you talk about how you hate the hate and you just don't know how to stop it. I just don't know how to stop it. Okay? As you scream at the guests on your show, I love you anyway. No. If I say I love you anyway, I'm not being impeccable with my word. I'm giving myself an out. I'm saying I don't really like you, but I love you anyway. So in being impeccable with my word, which is the first agreement, I just have to say, I love you. I love you. I love you. I respect your free will choices. I forgive your hatred and all of your hateful actions, thoughts, desires, and I bless you. I do the same for myself right now. And so it is. I know that many people have checked out because of the shit storm that is the news, and I totally understand. These people I honestly and easily love. They know that life is a gift. It's short. They just want to do good things, enjoy their lives. A couple of my close friends have just checked out of all the nonsense and are using their time, their free time I should say, to help out locally where they're needed. See why they're my good friends? Helping out locally does a lot because it actually helps where help is needed. So these two friends of mine, they find their way to things that they want to be part of, and then they ask, how can I help? And the person in charge gives them specific jobs, which then they do, and then they're happy to help, but they're helping in an appropriate way that they were actually asked to help. So it raises their vibration, and they come together in a group with all the same purpose, and they're helping in an appropriate way. That is in alignment with true helping. That is in alignment with the true and loving spirit. I got screamed at by my uncle at an Easter dinner last year, and I talk about it a lot. It's not that I haven't gotten over it. It's just very, very significant, and it's easy to go right to. Now, when my uncle screamed at me, he thought in his mind that he was fighting for a group of people that weren't sitting at the Easter dinner table with me and my children and the whole family. That's not helping out locally. That's not even helping out at all. That is just hateful behavior. Okay. All right. So, easy to love you people. So, easy to love you people who checked out of the nonsense. You haven't been adding to the hate movements that think they are love movements just because they share a hatred for one person. It's on both sides. Actually, many different sides. I'm going to go into this thing. I want to forget. Okay. So, there's something like 40,000 sealed indictments right now. Okay? They're sealed. I don't know who's in there. I don't have any idea. I know that a normal year is like 1,000 to 2,000, something like that. And right now, August 1st, 2018, there's about 40,000. Okay, and I know that December 21st of 2017, President Trump declared a state of emergency worldwide. for human rights violations. I also know a lot of pedophiles have been locked up. I have heard many stories about pedophiles in Hollywood and in high places, and the Masons, and Ted Gunderson from the CIA, he's dead now. On and on and on. Okay, so the fifth agreement is be skeptical, but listen, but learn to listen. So I listen with an open heart. I'm not going to go out and fight anyone's battles, because, well, I can't say that. Maybe, if I find a cause that I believe in and I ask how I can help, and they say, can you fight this battle, please? Then I just might. But like Ayaan Hirsi Ali or something like that, she like gives me a specific way of helping, and then I would help that way specifically. So I can't say that I won't ever fight battles, but where I'm coming from is I listen to all these different people, and when you really listen to people's hearts and their stories, they're easier to love. And so people are clumping and importing motive to a degree I've never seen in my life. And it's hate. It's just hatred. And we don't know what's going to come out of these indictments. People may think they know, but you don't know until it actually happens. So, I'm not an investigator. I'm not a judge. I'm just a mother. I just teach meditation. I teach healing. I do one-on-one healings. So I feel like I have an easier time loving people because of what I do and who I am and where I am and my circumstances, circumstances that I've created for myself and circumstances that I've changed. And I just, I don't know what's going to come out of these indictments. But part of me just wants people to calm down and stop being hateful. Just stop. If you're that sure, it's okay for you to be sure. That's fine. But everything you do outside of your own mind, well, your own mind has consequences just for you. So let's see, if you have hateful thoughts and you have angst and anxiety in your mind, in your body, you're going to create shit for yourself. Okay, so if you're holding loving thoughts, grateful thoughts, you're going to create nicely for yourself. And if you have shitty, motherfucking, hateful, victim, blah, blah, blah thoughts and energy in your body, you can get sick, you can, take yourself down, but you're only hurting yourself and the people who are attached to you being happy, or you being healthy, you being good, so they don't have to worry about you. So even if you're totally screwing yourself in your own life with your thoughts and your emotions, the only people you're affecting besides yourself are the people who are attached to your well-being. And that's a lesson for them. So I bless that 100%. It's easy to bless. You want to hurt yourself with your own thoughts and negativity. I bless it. Go ahead. That's fine. The thing is, though, once you take those thoughts and that energy from inside your body and you use it out into the world, so you're affecting the collective in a negative way, even if you don't do anything, even if you just sit and stew in your house and don't talk to anybody, don't answer the phone, even if you just sit there and you just hate, you're going to lower the vibration of the collective. So it's true that you're negatively impacting the entire world through your own hatred and your thoughts and stuff, even if you don't go out into the world. But if you're even on any kind of social media and you are talking about your hatred and sharing your hatred and spreading your hatred and connecting and feeding hatred of a group, now you're affecting the world even more negatively. Now you are behaving in a way that it's not just your own hatred anymore, okay? You're feeding the hatred of everyone else, and I mean everybody else. So it feels good to the ego. We all hate the same person. Yeah, this feels like love. Roger Waters, the concert, hating Trump, and everybody, yeah, hashtag resist, yeah. Such a hateful movement. And when you add one person, then another, and then you get thousands, then you get 100,000, you get 1,000,000 people hating the same person. It feels so good to the ego. That separateness feels so good. But it starts with one thought. And Scarlett Lewis started the Choose Love Foundation, the Jessie Lewis Choose Love Foundation. This is one of the most empowered people that I've ever had the pleasure of being in the world with. She considers the shooter, the person that killed her son, she considers him a victim. Because that Sandy Hook school shooting, December 14th, 2012, started with an angry thought. And that's like Jesus love vibration right there. Jesus praying for people while they killed him on the cross. And I always say this, you don't have to believe in Jesus. But the story is that there was a person that lived, named Jesus, who prayed for people and forgave them while they were killing him. And that's what I mean. She considered the shooter, the person who killed her son, a victim of an angry thought. So it started with an angry thought. Well, all this Trump hatred starts with an angry thought, and there are people that hate Hillary Clinton too. So I'm talking about everybody, everyone, all of your hate, whatever side you're on, the hatred is ripping our world apart. Your hatred, take responsibility for it. Don't just see it in the other side. If you see it in the other side, it's in you. We hate in others what we deny in ourselves. It upsets me so much. And I know that it's my work. It's my work to just keep practicing my principles that came to me. And I want to allow everyone to hate the way they want. And I want you to enjoy your hatred. And there's a lot of people that might watch this and make fun of me or not understand. But I'm not making this for them. I'm making this for the people who want a way out. I'm making this for the people who don't feel good and don't know why. Who keep hating and wonder why the world is such a hateful place. It's your own hatred. It's your own hatred that you're having trouble with. It's your hatred that's eating you alive. It's yours. You don't have to keep doing it. You don't have to pick Trump or Hillary. You don't have to be on a side. You can just allow whatever is happening to happen. You can just set the intention to love and just want to love and just want to feel love and just want to live in a loving world and focus on love. Just focus on what you love. You know, I've stayed away from people. I've stayed away from people my whole life because they're so mean and they don't even know. They cause so much pain for themselves and they don't know it. And I look at them like, how do you not see what you're doing? How can you not put it together? You know? You keep bringing hate to yourself, you keep bringing pain to yourself, and then you keep wondering, why? And I hurt myself with people's pain. And I'm trying to get out of that right now, and this video is part of it, because I have to stop. I gotta stop. Okay. There are many different sides. There are people that show hate for the flat earthers. There's a group called flat earthers. These people believe the world is flat-ish, you know, and they vary, of course, because all those people are not going to believe the same thing. But if you listen to them, they just feel like they've been lied to so much, you know. They get lumped into the group of conspiracy theorists, you know, but they just feel like they've been lied to, and there's reasons. If you listen to why they think they've been lied to, and you watch the videos that they've watched and that they believe in, you would understand where they're coming from, and then you can love them. It's so fucking simple. Just listen. Just listen to somebody's heart. Just listen. I have a twin brother who I love so much. And I used to, you know, so we grew up together, and then after we, you know, became adults and moved away from each other, and I got a cell phone, you know, and I'd see my brother calling, I would instantly start smiling and like practically laughing, because I knew that whatever he was going to say was going to crack me up. I knew that, like, he's probably calling to tell me something funny. And I called him one time from a book, there was a bookstore in Boston, or I don't know where it was. So when I was an airline pilot for United, I used to go to bookstores. I'm like obsessed with bookstores. And I found these greeting cards, and so one card made me laugh so hard that it took me like 20 minutes laughing with tears coming out, and I was crying, and he couldn't understand me. He's like, what? I can't understand you. This is before cell phones had cameras, so they might have had cameras, but it sucked. No one could have read it. It was like all grainy and tiny. The screen was like this big. So anyway, so now the current climate, you know, my brother, he lives in England, and he wants to, he turns everything political, which is very common these days. Even kids are doing it, 12-year-olds. And because they're watching grown-ups, and everything's becoming politicized, and everybody's making everything about politics. Not everybody. Sorry, I shouldn't generalize like that. Just hear me out. So my brother calls from England, which to me is a treat. You know, it's thousands of miles away, and we get to like see each other and like talk. It wasn't 3 minutes. It wasn't 3 minutes before he went in a direction that was just, it was just programming, you know? And so I love people, but I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to have a conversation with somebody's programming. I want to have a conversation with their heart, okay? Not their programming, you know? And it's fine if they want to program themselves with CNN or whatever they want to program, or Fox, but CNN and Fox are not opposing forces like people think. Because there's people that have died that haven't been reported. that would link someone to someone. Okay, so just know, I mean, it isn't what you think. I mean, you can think it all day long, but so my brother starts going into this programming. And normally, I would never yell at my brother. I love him, and I know how funny he is, and I know how loving he is, and I've always felt like anyone who doesn't just love my brother is really missing out, because he's such a loving and hilarious person. But my brother's mind has been programmed and co-opted by the current climate and the way things are, to the point that I don't really, I love to talk to him, of course, but when he starts to go into the programming, I usually just sign off and say, okay, well, I'll let you go. But this time it was in the first 3 minutes, you know. And the funny thing about Skype or FaceTime, whatever it was, I got to see my face in the corner. And because I got no time with my brother's heart before the programming kicked in, I started yelling powerfully and still grounded and still in alignment with my spirit. But it was like all of a sudden my spirit was like, I'm just gonna be truthful. And I said to him, not even 3 minutes in, and you're getting political. I'm like, this is why I don't want to talk to you. This is why I don't want to go to, you know, see that part of our family, because it turns into this. And it's nothing but pure fucking hatred. And I'm not going to waste my fucking time with programming and hatefulness. And he calmed right down. And we had a great talk. And it was like, holy shit. I never trusted my brother. Well, I never spoke my truth like that before, but I never trusted myself with my own power. I never trusted my brother with my truth. So up until that day, I wasn't truly loving my brother the way I could. So I did that. I had a best friend for 35 years. And I didn't trust her with my truth either. And I ended up, well, she left the relationship first. And when she did, I realized how much better off I was. And then she wanted to be friends again, and I had to politely decline and write a 7-page letter about why I'm not the person that she thinks I am. Because I kept my mouth shut for 35 years, because I didn't want to lose her. I didn't want to tell her how I really felt, because I didn't want to lose her. And, you know, her behavior fit into a category called emotional blackmail, where people use fear, obligation, and guilt to control your behavior, right? So I could hide behind this. Like, even some of her texts were like almost verbatim, just changed the names, and it was almost verbatim as the examples in this emotional blackmail book, okay? So her part was the emotional blackmail part, but my part was being a pussy. I didn't trust her. I didn't trust my own power. I didn't trust my power at all. I didn't trust her to listen and be okay with what I had to say. So I'm every bit as responsible for that relationship not being perfect, not being divine, not being the most loving relationship that ever existed. So I share, I take 51% responsibility. In fact, I wrote a letter from my soul to her soul. I wrote a letter from my soul to her soul, apologizing for how long it took me to understand that I was not coming from my own power, not being my powerful self. And my soul told her soul, you got me so close so many times to taking my power, many times, and then I would just go the wrong direction and go the other way. And I'm writing a book, not about that specifically, but an easy, like, I try and make everything as easy as possible, but you understand, like, how hard it was for her soul to be mean to me, just so I would learn to hold my own power and be powerful. That hurts the soul. It hurts the soul to hurt other souls, okay? And if I had learned it sooner, if I had just been powerful from the beginning, that's the game, right? So I shouldn't even be so attached to it now and cry about it. But that's part of my process. I just want to see how puffy my eyes can get. So, you know, it's the game. And if I was born powerful, then I'd probably still be friends with her because she's hilarious. Okay. Where were we? Okay, so hate for the flat earthers. Okay, these people just hold an opinion and they get together, make t-shirts, and have fun together. I have some people in my family that are so pissed that Hillary didn't get elected that they are on the verge of a tantrum all the time. Sometimes it does come out, and I just have to settle the energy. I burp and yawn to clear in case you don't know me. One of them made fun of a conservative at a holiday table, calling him a flat earther, like it was a shameful thing to be, before storming off and being in a tantrum on my kid's swing set, immediately joined by his girlfriend, also in a tantrum, where my kids were like, yay, let's play. Listen, I could take an awkward silence, and I don't expect things to be perfect just because it's a holiday. I really don't. But most importantly, this scene, plus the one where I got screamed at by my uncle after I quoted Morgan Freeman. And just keep in mind, my cousin and I don't talk or want to talk about politics. We don't fight about politics. We love our family. We just love our family. And we love holidays. We love celebrating happy things. We don't understand why anyone wants to talk about politics. So we don't talk about it at all. Well, we talk about our family talking about it. But they don't have any idea who we voted for, like ever. We never tell anyone who we voted for. We never say who we voted for. But some in our family just want to talk about politics. They make everything about it. And they feel like it is their right to change our minds and opinions. So they feel like they're entitled to hearing who we voted for, so that if we voted for the wrong person, they could change our minds. And then I said, you can't make this shit up. Anyway, I'm thankful for the tantrums that my loving family threw, because it helped me so much to make an informed decision not to go to my 30th high school reunion Saturday, because I easily love everyone in there except the two people that I have to practice the Renegade Yogi principles on. So then I still love those two people, but it takes me a lot of effort. I was the class clown in high school. It was easy to be that because I loved everyone, even the two people that I mentioned. They were all so easy to love for me because people all want the same things. And in high school, you know, everybody has anxiety. Even the people that you think, that person's cool, they don't have it. They have anxiety. They want to stay cool. All these like famous people, oh, I was shamed for having big thighs. I was shamed. Well, I was shamed for having, to being too skinny. So, fuck it. Like, this is what it is, you know? You know, there's like beautiful people like Carmen Electra. She has stories to tell. Like, come on, just stop. Fuck. Okay, so my memories of all these people in high school are so fond, and loving and happy and funny and just awesome. I loved high school. I loved my high school. I loved the people in it. I think that, well, I just loved it. That's it. So instead of going, I went camping by myself instead of going to the reunion because I didn't want to see any of them act like my family. I understand and respect that many people are so sure that Hillary's going to win that they feel like they're living in some sort of horrible alternative universe. I'm sorry for your pain if you're in that crew. I'm sorry for your pain. I still love you, and I respect your free will choices, and I bless you. But I keep having to forgive you for being nasty. Your behaviors are often not loving. Like I said, if you're sitting in your house, not talking to anyone, and just stewing and hating, Trump or hating things or hating something, and you're just in your house, you're still lowering the vibration of the collective, and you're still hurting yourself, and you're still hurting the people who are attached to your health and your well-being. But that's a lesson for those people, not to be so attached to your health and well-being. So I'm not trying to say that you're hurting them. Okay, I'm not blaming you for hurting the people who are attached, because that's their lesson. It's their lesson to detach from you and your pain and your hatefulness. And the shit you're creating for yourself is what shit you're creating for yourself, and that's how you're choosing to live your life. And but I also bless their attachment, and I forgive their attachment, and I respect their free will choice to be attached to your happiness and your health. And I love them too. I love them all. I love you, whatever you're doing. Okay, so living hatefully is a valid choice. I respect that free will choice to live hatefully and think hatefully. And then once you take those thoughts, like what started December 14th, 2012, the Sandy Hook school shooting started with an angry thought. And an angry thought turned into an external behavior that hurt a lot of people. And although you're not maybe a shooter, and you're not, you're thinking that you're just normal, and you are normal, but normal doesn't mean good, okay? And normal, to strive for normal, when you can strive for so much more, you may feel very fine about being normal, and that's fine. I bless that and I respect that. But I'm talking to the people who don't want to be normal. There's a normal that's hateful right now. The new normal is hateful. That's the new normal. And there's all these hateful people. I don't understand why we live in such a hateful place. It's so hateful. And then they blame Donald Trump. They blame one individual, which they don't blame one individual, because that turns into they blame everyone who voted for that person or anyone who supports that person. The stories just become endless. Anyway, okay, so I do understand. If you expected Hillary to win and she didn't win, and now you're upset, and I'm sorry for your pain. I really am. And I'm not going to tell you to get over it. And I'm not going to tell you to stop throwing a tantrum. I'm going to tell you that the hate in your mind is turning into hateful behavior, whether it's on Twitter or on Facebook, and you're looking for information that validates that hurt, that pain, that hatred. See, and now you're posting shit and you're spreading hate, and you think you're spreading truth, but you might not be. And there's an awesome meme on Twitter that says, it's a Morpheus from The Matrix, and it says, if you're not questioning what you believe to be true, you may be spreading lies. If you don't question what you believe to be true, you may be spreading lies. Okay. I think that's what it is. It's close enough anyway. All right. So your behavior is turning in Okay. Your thoughts, your hateful thoughts, or angry thoughts, as Scarlett would say, are turning into hateful behaviors. And because you're normal, because it's normal to do that on Facebook and on Twitter, because it's normal, you feel like you're fine. And you are fine. I validate it. But you're part of the hate. Like, whatever side you're on, you're part of the hate. So let's just say, for an example, and you may get triggered by this, but I'm just giving you a possibility. I'm not saying something, I'm just saying, here's a possibility, right? And people don't believe, oh, that's not possible, or they're gonna like jump on me or get triggered by me. I just had a client who, she has a higher potential self that's trying to get her out of cancer, okay? So I want to do a TED Talk actually, that based on this higher potential self. And her main advice is, the person that got you into cancer is not the same person that gets you out. Okay, so the person that got you into your suffering is not the same person that gets you out, okay? So you enter suffering through a victim mentality. And that's fine. If you want to stay there, you can stay there. I bless it, it's fine. But the person who becomes a victor mentality is not the same person that gave you the victim mentality. So in order to get out, okay, you are not that same person. So you have to give up who you think you are that took you in to become the person who gets you out. And that's what I want to talk about, TED Talk. But because I deal with disease, people come to healers when they don't feel good, when things suck. No one comes to me because they're like, I'm having the best life ever. Fix it. I get people who are like, I don't know what's going on. Everything's falling apart. I'm sick. I have a tumor. Blah, blah, blah. That's when I get my people. And I love them. I love them because you know why? Because they're like, surrender. What the fuck do I do? Help me. And I love those people. I can help them because they're surrendering. And they're basically saying, I don't know what's going on anymore. And I'll tell you, they may be sick and they may have tumors and they may feel like their life is falling apart, but I look at my clients and I love them so much because I see them as further ahead towards enlightenment than any of the people who are normal. My clients, with their sicknesses, with their sadness, with their anxiety, with their pain and all their suffering, are so much further along than the people in these hateful groups that think that they're loving. Okay. If you're one of my clients, I fucking love you. Oh, I love you. I wish I could wave a magic wand and give you like the most miraculous, blissful existence. But I know we just have to work towards that. You can have it, and you deserve it. Love you. You're so good. Love them. Okay, so the person that gets you in is not the person that gets you out. And I just saw this client recently, and it's a woman. And I said, the truth is, you could leave here right now, and you could move to Canada. You could drive your car to Canada. You could drive to JFK, buy yourself a plane ticket, and move to Spain, or France, or Switzerland, and live out the rest of your life without telling anyone what you've done, and just leave all your shit behind, leave everything behind. You can do that. And only your ego will tell you no. Only your ego will say, I can't do that. Your soul's like, I could do that. That is a valid choice. I really could. Your soul's all on board for like, that sounds like an adventure, or let's leave this shit behind. Let's quit this job. Let's write this fucking book. Let's do this fucking video. The ego's like, no, you can't. You have to stay, because the ego's just trying to keep you safe, sane, and secure in the box that it created with all of the ego defenses that have worked since you were a baby. It came up with all these ego defenses. So good. Okay, so I told my client, you could leave my house right now. She's got all these responsibilities that I'm not going to go into. I said, you could leave my house right now, drive to JFK, get on a plane to Switzerland, and just and live out the rest of your life. You could. That's a possibility. Okay. All right. So I love the flat earthers. Let's see. I love all the people who voted for Trump and all the people who voted for Hillary. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. So let's just say, just as an example, and if you get triggered, then I love you so much, and I bless you, and I forgive everything, all that you're doing, in all directions of time. So whatever you've done in your past, what you're doing now, what you're going to do in your future, and I respect your free will choice to hate my guts, think I'm a horrible, awful asshole, but in these 40,000 sealed indictments, if Hillary and Bill Clinton and John and Tony Podesta go down, and John McCain, we don't know who's in there, right? We have no idea who's in there. But the truth is, if those people go down, there's going to be what we see now, what we see, the pain and the suffering in the people who voted for Hillary, or the people like my best friend who put tons and tons of work into Hillary Clinton, like for years. She's made phone calls. She's worked so hard for Hillary, so long, at least since 2008. I mean, she's put so much time, energy, effort into Hillary Clinton that I know of, all right? If the Clintons and the Podestas go down, the pain and suffering and what is normal now is going to get even worse. I don't know what it's going to look like. You know, I'm not going to pretend to know what it's going to look like. But if you are a conservative or a Trump voter, please, and you want to be more loving, okay, or you think you're loving. If you're a conservative Christian, a lot of those people are on the Trump train. If you are on the Trump train in any way, shape, or form, please, if the Clintons and the Podestas and that whole group goes down in flames, please practice the principles. Bless, forgive, respect, love. Bless, forgive, respect, love. Try to resist going, ha ha, we told you so. Those people, if that happens, those people are going to suffer a cognitive dissonance break that for some may require medication. So if you could just, whoever has a calm mind, whoever can, you know, and it could be Trump that goes down. I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing out a scenario or two. It could be Whoopi Goldberg that goes down. Who knows? The more of us that want to see a peaceful, loving world, we have to take responsibility for that. Okay? I'm not trying to shove the towel down your throat. I'm just going to read something. A good traveler leaves no tracks. Good speech lacks fault finding. A good counter needs no calculator. A well-shut door will stay closed without a latch. Skillful fastening will stay tied without knots. It is in this manner that the sage is always skillful in elevating people. Therefore, she does not discard anybody. You can't throw anyone away. And I wish I could remember her name. There was a famous black actress that was on some show. I just see little clips, you know, on Twitter. And she said that Roseanne Barr stood up for her at a time when not everybody was standing up for her. I don't know if it was because she was black or a black woman or a comedian or she said something. I don't know why. But she said Roseanne stood by her when other people wouldn't. And so now she's standing by Roseanne. And she said, you know, and I have to say, I don't think that Roseanne's thing about Valerie Jarrett was about her being black. I didn't know who Valerie Jarrett was. I think Roseanne tweeted about Valerie Jarrett to call people's attention to her. There was some information about her and Obama. So I think that was the only purpose. And Roseanne said she didn't know she was black, and I didn't know she was black. I didn't even know who she was. She was obscure to me until that tweet, and then I looked her up, whatever. But anyway, this black act, I think she's a comedian, and I remember her face. She's famous for sure. But she says, "We don't discard our sisters." Like and then I retweeted that with or our brothers too. I love this. It makes me cry. Therefore, she does not. So in this manner, it's in this manner that the sage is always skillful in elevating people. That should be our goal. Elevating everyone, elevating people. Skillful in elevating people. Therefore, she does not discard anybody. So there was this movement, we all rise together, we all rise together. But they were trying to rise by shoving people down. That was like the white male guilt thing. I'm like, wait, you're saying we all rise together, and then you're stepping on and pushing down the patriarchy. I was like, how is that working out for you? How is that rising together? That's not. You were rising without them. So you're talking to just a chunk of the population, but you're pushing down another chunk of the population as if they don't count. So then when you say we all rise together, you're not talking about all because the people that you're pushing, guilt has the second lowest measure of vibration that I'm aware of, guilt. So you're trying to push these people down, make them feel guilty. You're just lowering the collective vibration by pushing guilt on them and then saying we all rise together. Well, you can't rise. You're lowering the vibration. So that we all rise together movement, which is true, we do all rise together because there's a collective vibration. We all rise together, we really do, but that means everyone. That means all the people that you hate. Okay, this is my point. She does not discard anybody. She is always skillful in helping things. Therefore, she does not discard anything. This is called the actualization of her luminosity. And this luminosity has nothing to do with the Freemasons, in case you're wondering. The Tao is not. I mean, if the Masons use any part of it, they co-opted the information and used it differently, because it's not the same thing. So it's more like it's not Christianity either. It's not like I am the light, but it's more of the light being. It would be closer to Christianity than the other direction, in my opinion. Okay. Hence, the good are the teachers of the not so good, and the not so good are the charges of the good. Not valuing your teacher or not loving your students, even if you are smart, you are gravely in error. This is called essential subtlety. So the good are the teachers of the not so good, and the not so good are the charges of the good. What does that mean? It means that the people who can love the most are the teachers of the people who have a hard time loving. It means that the people who have a hard time loving or are hateful or displaying hateful behavior we are responsible for. So if you consider yourself a loving person, then you are in charge of the people who are hateful. And it goes down the line. So by understanding that if you are a little bit of love, you're the teacher of and in charge of the people who have less love. But then there's people who have more love that are in charge of you. And the people who have more love are in charge of you. Okay? And then the people who have more love are in charge of these people. So this is my lesson. I can't hate the hate. If I want a loving world, I have to just see everyone. I have to allow people who love more than me to be my teacher. I have to learn from them. I need to learn from the people above me who are able to love more. The people who, the Renegade Yogi principles are just natural. They just feel it. They just live from it. It just is part of them, okay? I still have to practice the principles. I still have to talk myself through. When I see hateful behavior, when I see non-loving behavior, when I see it, I have to stick to my principles. There are people who are in charge of me. There are people who are in charge of me that, I gotta plug that in. Okay. There are people who are in charge of me that love more than me. They're able to just live the principles that I have to practice. I was blocking my mess with my body. Okay. See my daughter's rainbow picture? She's a rainbow child. Okay, so I allow people who love more than me to be my teachers. I look up to them. A lot of them are angels. and some of them are dead, like Jesus and Gandhi. I look up to them. Those are my teachers, okay? But I take responsibility for, those are my charges. I take responsibility for all the people who can't love as much as me. I love them, but I'm in charge of them. Once I'm in charge of them, they're like my children in a way, where I can love them easier. I can accept their tantrums. And in taking that responsibility, I am truly understanding that we all rise together in allowing myself to be responsible for teaching them and just loving them and however I can do it, like being in charge of them. I'm still rising with them. I'm still understanding that we are all connected. Okay. I hope this all makes sense. I say that every time. And then I have a couple people that really, really understand what I'm saying. So, hello, Lisa. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Carly. All right, I love you guys. So, whoever goes down, if anyone goes down with these indictments, if anyone goes down politically, so everything is political now. So we live in a politically charged, emotionally charged atmosphere. Okay, so that's what's happening now. That's just what's happening now. Whatever side goes down, whoever's able to love, just keep loving and keep your vibration high, and also stay in alignment with your higher self and your spirit, and just love the people who are going to fall apart, in case there are people falling apart. I've seen tantrums over nothing, so I can only imagine that if anybody goes down politically, we're going to see some big motherfucking tantrums. It's not easy. We have an amazing opportunity. There's this powerful energy pushing us forward, helping us evolve faster than I've ever seen. And I'm just glad that I did as much work beforehand as I did, because holy crap, I'm riding this wave and things are getting easier for me, and it's getting easier to love, and it's getting easier to see, and it's getting easier to learn the lessons. Like, I'll just chew on something spiritually for like 5 minutes, and then I'll cry. I'll have like not a big cry, but just a little like epiphany. And I think of epiphanies as my spirit playing hide and seek with me, and I'm like, there you are. There you are. Oh, I understand. I get it. Now I know. I figured out the lesson. I figured out the lesson. I figured out the lesson. So we live in an amazing time, but it's amazingly painful for people who are hashtag resisting. And we need to understand and appreciate that. We don't have to buy into it. We don't have to try and talk them out of it. It's a valid choice for them to make, to be in that much pain. It's a valid choice for people to make, to program themselves with things and information that hurts them and makes them cry. But there are really good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff happening. There is a lot of good stuff happening. There's a lot of pedophiles that have been locked up. there's some really cool stuff that is happening. I'm connected with people from Iran, and it's just, there's some really cool stuff. And England, and, well, whatever. Anyway, all right. Let's see, sorry, let's see. So, I was thankful for my family's tantrums because it helped me not go to my 30th high school reunion because I didn't want to ruin all the positive memories I have of everyone there. Because they were, my friends in high school were so easy to love, so funny. Oh my God, I loved high school. All right, wonderful. Okay, so I still love the people whose behaviors are not loving. I still love those behaviors. So just, so the point is, your hateful behavior starts with a hateful thought, and you have the chance, when it's still a hateful thought, you have the chance then to change it so that you don't create a hateful behavior, even though it's normal. Posting on Twitter and Facebook, it's normal, it's totally normal, and if you want to, go right ahead. But your version of normal is causing you pain. There's a lot of us, that's why I got the Renegade Yogi. Renegade is about not living like everyone else. And I still love and bless and forgive and respect, you know. I'm not going to live like that. That's like hateful, and it's not fun at all. So I still love all those people, but I choose not to be around them because they lower my vibration. And I can do my practice, my spiritual practice of working with my principles just by looking at Twitter, just by, I can go on and watch the news if I need extra practice, but I have plenty of practice. So when you have a hateful thought towards Hillary or Trump, I mean, I'm not talking about politics, I'm talking about people, I'm talking about what's happening right now. It's not about Hillary or Trump, it's about the hatefulness. So Hillary or Trump, just those one person here, one person there, it's such an easy way for me to relay this information to you. You understand quickly, because you see all the division. But if you hate a person, it's a very short, it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope from hating Trump to now hating all of the people who voted for him, and then calling them all kinds of names. Or hating Hillary and then hating everyone who voted for her because they're stupid, or, you know, anything, whatever. There's always reasons. The normal is hateful, and if you want to shift the normal into loving, then you have to take your responsibility, and be loving yourself, and then take the responsibility of the people who don't love as much as you, or can't love as much as you, or don't get it as much. Take them on as your charges. You're in charge of them. So love them anyway. Not in a condescending way, but it may start condescending, and that's perfectly fine, because any attempt that you make at loving people who aren't as loving as you, I will fucking take it. I'll take it. So I'll keep forgiving you, loving you, blessing you, and respecting your free will choices over and over until even after I die, because it puts me in alignment with my own divinity, my higher self. So I'm living this way for myself, and I teach it every Sunday night through healing meditations. But it doesn't mean that I have to put my physical body near you. I may not want to be around you. You know, if you are holding hateful thoughts, I can feel it. If you are just holding back a tantrum, I can feel it. And I may have to be around you, like people in my family. I may have to be around you, and at those moments, I use those moments to practice my principles and to do my spiritual work on myself, and to raise my own vibration so that I can keep moving up, learning from my teachers, Gandhi, Jesus, you know, ascended masters. Just love, forgive them, Lord, they know not what they do. I keep practicing my principles so I can move up, right? I can enlighten myself. I can expand my own consciousness. I can become a greater source of love and light in the world, and then take responsibility for more people. Love more people. The more people you hate, the lower you are. Basically, that's what it is. The more people you love, the higher you are. It's so fucking simple. So if you only hate half the people, okay, if you're a Hillary voter and you only hate the Trump voters, you're in the exact same vibrational place as I forget which one I said, but the opposite, right? So if you're a Hillary voter and you hate all the Trump voters, you're in the same vibrational space as all the Trump voters who hate the Hillary voters. You're vibrating around 200. Okay, and that's the normal vibration. That's normal. It's still hateful. Normal does not mean good. Normal can mean hateful, and that's what it means right now. So in order to raise your vibration, you can't hate your way to a loving world. You can't raise your vibration with hatred. You can't raise your vibration with anything except love. So the more you can use it as a contest. If you're a Trump voter, the more Hillary people you can love, the higher you'll go. If you're a Hillary voter, the more Trump people that you can love, the higher you'll raise your vibration. The easiest way, the fastest way that I think you can get there is to go in and listen to people. There's plenty of people on YouTube posting their stories. Listen to their hearts. You can be skeptical, the fifth agreement. You can be skeptical, but learn to listen. Listen to their hearts. There's love in there. Don't listen to their programming. Listen to their hearts. Okay, I love you. I know. All right. Okay. So I can practice. I can practice my principles a lot when I'm finding out what's going on through people's stories and interviews. And there are videos and there are pictures of stuff that is so disgusting. There's a lot of good stuff happening in the world, but there's a lot of disgusting stuff in the world. But we have to see it in order to clean it. If I don't see where the dirt is, if I walk through my kitchen, yeah, it's perfectly clean. I can't clean it if I don't see the dirt. So I go on and I look at disgusting behavior and I practice my principles to raise my own vibration and become more and more aware. My path started happening to me, and it wasn't until I realized it was happening for me that I could rise. Once I took out my surfboard and I said, okay, I'll rise with what you want me to do. Now I can use that powerful energy that's helping us evolve towards my own enlightenment. If I hashtag resist, I'm trying to go the other direction. That's going to cause me more and more pain. That's going to squeeze my consciousness. That's going to create more of a density, more of a low-level guilt, shame, anxiety vibrations. And that's where the body can hold disease, sickness. All right? So all the hashtag resist people, if Trump does get elected again in 2020, you're probably going to see a lot of hashtag resist people getting sicknesses and diseases. And this is why, because they're lowering their vibration. Resistance always causes pain, it always will cause pain, because it resists whatever's happening. So by allowing what's happening to happen, you can raise your vibration. That's not the same as condoning, okay? But we forgive people just to help ourselves. We forgive others, not to condone the behavior. I mean, you all know this. It's on like bumper stickers, and mugs, and T-shirts. Forgiveness is a huge thing, you know? Okay. All right, so I listen very deeply to the people speaking. I listen very deeply to their hearts. They may not be telling the truth. I'm not running around so sure of all I read and hear that I'm willing to fight for it. Even if I was sure, I hope I would know that fighting for it wouldn't work. There's no way to peace. Peace is the way. That's Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh. Civil discourse is the way we change it. It takes love. All is done in love, with love. That's me. I said that. You can quote me. There's a hashtag walk away movement right now. People sharing their stories of their heart hurting from division. It can look like they are joining the other side. So
right? So it can look like they're joining the other side. And this is how I first learned about spectrums. So I never talked about politics, blah, blah, blah. And then Trump got elected in 2016, and then April of 2017 at Easter dinner, I quoted Morgan Freeman because I heard an old interview with him, and I thought it was pretty cool. And because, like I said, I just listened to people. To me, what he said was nothing divisive at all. He wasn't. It was just. It was an empowered mentality. And my uncle screamed at me, and it was so powerful for me that my uncle could scream in my face, and his eyeballs. Like I never had my uncle. Like I never had that from my godfather. You know, my mother's favorite relative turning on me and just, that's racist. I was like, what's racist? Morgan Freeman said it. It didn't make any sense to me. It makes sense to me now. But on the way home, I started thinking, maybe I'm a conservative. And there's nothing wrong with being a conservative. And there's nothing wrong with being a Democrat. But when I heard myself say, maybe I'm a conservative, I heard, it was like, and in the moment, so then a lot opened and unfolded for me. And in that moment, I realized I had gotten so much ego satisfaction out of being an independent. I thought so highly of myself for being an independent, and that I had voted for both sides, and I'm this great person. I mean, I wasn't aware of that, but I always felt like I was a neutral person. You know, I gave myself the credit for being a neutral person. And I don't pat myself on the back very often. It's hard for me to even do these videos. It may not seem like it, but it is. Look at my fingernails. I'm so afraid to like give my opinions. Well, here's what I get screamed at because I shared somebody's quote. But so on the way home, when I was like, maybe I'm a conservative, and then I was like, oh my God, what is happening? So then I started tapping. I was just tapping. It was a 2.5-hour ride home, and I was like tapping the shit out of myself. And then I was like, that's when I realized it's all a spectrum. So you have the left, and then you have the independents, and then you have the right on the conservative spectrum. I never thought until my uncle pushed me out of, until that experience, I never saw it as a spectrum. I thought I was neutral. I wasn't neutral. I was an independent. I was judging the left and I was judging the right. And I was feeling superiority for being an independent. It wasn't until that moment and I had that learning experience, I had that shift where I rose above the spectrum and I was like, oh, I'm not any of those things. I'm not an independent. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. And I still love and bless everyone on that spectrum. But it's easier to love and bless everyone on the spectrum. Because even when I was an independent, I found it difficult to tolerate the behaviors of the far left and the behaviors of the far right. I found it, I didn't realize I was judging the behaviors because I had self-righteousness. It wasn't until I rose above the spectrum and I was like, I'm not any of these things. Now I had so much freedom that I could look down on that spectrum and just like really love everybody. I love you all. Like I am not attached to any of you. And then what's so cool is I felt like an individual above the spectrum, and in the moment that I felt like an individual, like not identifying as anything on a spectrum, I felt like an individual, but I also had this spiritual awareness that I'm not even an individual. So when you rise up out of your physical life circumstances and things you've bought into, things that you're like, well, this is true. You know, I am an independent. This is true. And then you're like, no, I'm not. I'm not. Oh, wow. I'm not. I'm just an individual. And then it's like, whoa, I'm not even an individual. I'm freaking a spark of divinity. Wow. And then, then back to normal. So all cool, man. All right. Okay. Man, I wrote a lot. Okay, so I forgive all these people for being nasty. Their behaviors are often not loving. So people with these hateful thoughts, even if they keep them in, they're hurting the entire collective. Then it goes from an angry thought, hateful thought, to angry behavior, hateful behavior. And although those behaviors, I have to respect their free will choices, you know? And I know a lot, I've heard, I've listened to a lot of claimed behaviors. And some of those behaviors may come out in these indictments, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying that they're all true. But the behaviors that I've heard about are not loving. And I still practice my principles and forgive and bless the free will choice and respect the free will choice of the people committing heinous behaviors for myself, so I don't lower my own vibration. But I'm not going to go near those people. So the behaviors are often not loving. So it doesn't matter if you're under indictment. The people who are going to church, being good people, have friends, doing nice things for their friends and family, but then going on Twitter or going on Facebook or going on social media or pushing posts and information that that they didn't see firsthand. So they forward or they post like a CNN thing where it's like Trump, or if they buy the Time magazine, Trump is Hitler, or stuff like that. You know, if you're doing these things and you don't think you're hateful, you're just one of my charges. You may not be noticing your hateful behavior, but you do have it. If you're normal right now, you're hateful right now. It's only the people who are above you on the enlightenment scale. They hate less than you. Their vibration is higher than you. You're more hateful than they are. You have a choice. You have a choice of where you want to be on the vibrational scale. I'm going to make these mugs that you can carry around, and you can see, where am I on this scale? All right. Okay, so I still love you. Respect your free will choices over and over until after I die, because it puts me in alignment with my own divinity, my higher self. So I'm living this way for myself, and I'm teaching it every Sunday evening through healing meditations, but it doesn't mean I have to put my physical body near you. I can practice from anywhere, and I practice a lot when I'm finding out what's going on through people's stories, firsthand stories. Anyway, I'm grateful to my family's tantrums because it kept me away from my high school reunion. I'm not attached to the stories that I hear. So that's the whole be skeptical. I was doing this before I ever read the Fifth Agreement. This is why my friend Carly's like, just read it. So be skeptical, but learn to listen. It's the same as I'm not attached to the stories I hear. I listen very deeply to the people speaking. Let me get that. Just kidding. Okay. So I'm not running around so sure of all that I read and hear that I'm willing to fight for it. And hopefully I would know that fighting for it wouldn't work. All right? All is done in love with love. The hashtag walkaway movement, people sharing their stories of their heart hurting from division. So it can look like they're joining the other side. So when I quoted Morgan Freeman, it hurt my uncle because he imported motive and interpreted that what I was saying looked like I was joining the other side. So I wasn't on his side. Even though he's sort of on, he's very, very left-leaning liberal, and he thinks he's fighting for black people who aren't at our dining room, who weren't at his dining room table, and I was quoting a black person who I feel is empowered, and I was getting flack for it because my uncle imported motive and interpreted it as me joining the other side. So this hashtag walk away movement right now is hurting people that they're walking away from. Okay? So I'd just like to ask the people that are hashtag walking away, I'd just like to ask you people to make sure that you bring your love for the people you've walked away from with you. It's fine if you want to be a conservative in reaction to the pain you've experienced. I've been there. I totally understand. There's also being above the entire political spectrum, to be an individual, loving all the individuals on that spectrum at the same time. That is a choice. That's a vibrational choice to stay, around a 600, 500. Yeah, 500 is love. 540 is healing. And then I think peace is 600. Okay, so 500 is a love vibration. And so you can choose to stay in a love vibration by thinking about and holding thoughts about things you love. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, because you're not pushing media narratives and showing everybody the truth. The people who are working on these indictments, they're keeping their mouths shut. Those are the people who are investigating things and looking at things. It's their job. It's their job to look for and investigate. So it's not your job. And if you don't have the necessary clearances to actually look into what's going on, then your research is happening with CNN, and Fox, and MSNBC, and those are not technically, they are research, they are valid news information, but it doesn't mean it's exactly 100% true. So the people working on the indictments right now are looking at paper trails and emails and government documents and getting testimonies and all this stuff. It's their job to do that stuff. And so if it's fine for you to take it in, but if you react to it or repost it or push it, that's your being in the normal lower vibrational categories, and that's your choice, and I respect that, and I love you anyway. But you do have a choice to focus on love, focus on things that you love, things that make you feel love, things that you would love. What do you want to create? What would make you so happy in your life? That's going to raise your vibration. If you can hold a 500 level vibration, you're going to do more for the world than reposting a CNN interview. And I'm just using CNN, but Fox, CNN, MSNBC, everybody, it's all the same. And even like I'm telling you, I listen to people's firsthand experiences, and I see video footage of things. And I still withhold judgment on it. I just see it, and then I practice, and I raise my vibration. So if you could hold loving vibration, you're going to do more for the world than you are doing anything else. Your ego's going to tell you that's not true. Your ego may tell you it's selfish just to sit in your own life and love it. But you pay taxes for people to do that work, and it is happening. And you don't, well, okay, I'm going to stop right there. All right. So if the people in the hashtag walk away movement, please just hold the love for the people that you're walking away from. The people that the group you're leaving behind are in pain. It's going to be painful for them to see you walk away. And I appreciate that you walk away, because I think that you're doing a significant shift to help reduce the division and the divide and conquer that it seems so apparent to me. So I do love you, and I appreciate your hashtag walking away. And, the Republican Party experienced a walk away movement with the Tea Party people. More people became libertarians. Libertarianism came out of the Republican walk away. They didn't have a hashtag walk away. It was just the Tea Party. And a lot of people became libertarians. They looked into what's libertarian. I saw this kid on Twitter. He called himself a libertarian socialist. And I'm like, well, that is an oxymoron. He wanted to take people's houses. If people had like 5 houses that they weren't using, he thought it was okay to take 4 of the houses that they weren't using and stuff people into it because they weren't using it. And he called himself a libertarian socialist. Oh, how cute is that? I mean, that is just, there is no such thing. Socialists and communists are polar opposites to libertarianism. Um, I have a little tiny funny story about libertarianism. My son, who's 10, when he was about 9, asked, what is the difference? If all these people are fighting, what is the difference? And I told him, Democrats, everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants a happy life and to take care of themselves, their family, and other people. Everybody's love at their core. They just disagree on how to get there. I said the Democrats want to give more, money and power to government so that government can, they look at it like, we're giving money to mom and dad are gonna, put the money where it needs to go. So they trust mom and dad or the government to put the money, like we all give, and then they have a higher, a Democrat viewpoint would be like, we have a higher perspective, they have a higher perspective, so they can see they need money over here, they need money over there, they need money, okay. So they believe in taxes, they believe in, we all just give our money to the government and then the government just can put it where it really will do the most good. So that's the Democratic perspective. I said the Republican, conservative type of perspective is, well, less government, but we can help our fellow man because we see the people near us who need help, and of course we're going to help them. They're our neighbors, they're our friends, they're our family. So just let us have more of our money, and then we'll use our money to help more locally. And then I said, and then there's this other group. He's like, who? I said, libertarians. And I described libertarians that they want minimal government, even less than Republican. And that they, taxation is theft. I started describing libertarians, and my son goes, why isn't everyone a libertarian? So I thought that was kind of funny. So I don't know, I mean, he's way younger generation. Okay, so my opinion, I feel that Trump was elected by libertarians and Bernie people who were pissed. So basically, all the hashtag walk away people, both from the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. So you got the main, Republicans and Democrats that always vote along party lines. But then there's a hashtag walk away movement, people coming together. They don't agree necessarily, but if you've walked away, whether it's from the Republican Party or the Democratic Party or anything, whatever you've walked away from, please bring the love that you have for all the people you're walking away from. That's what I'm asking you to do. Just love them. Just still love them. Pointing fingers and name calling is hateful and normal. Normal and hateful. It's 200 level vibration. And all the people that you're pointing your finger at are the people that you have the same vibration as. And I love you anyway. Because you're my charges. You're my children. Okay? You helped me practice my Renegade Yogi principles. But you're on both sides. I love you. Okay. All right. Okay. There's a group of raw online truth people. The truth is all they care about. So this is a whole different group. I have an easy time loving them. I don't know if I want to say any of this. Okay. I do want to quickly mention, I understand people not paying attention, but there's a group right now latching on to the LGBTQ movement, looking to be accepted as what's called pedosexuals, people who are sexually attracted to babies and children. So I had someone on Twitter yell at me because she said the P is for pansexual, and it's not. There is a P for pansexual, and if you don't know what pansexual is, those are people that just don't discriminate. So they love. It's like they love the person. They don't care what identification, if they're gay. They don't care if they're straight, gay, bisexual, any queer, whatever. They don't leave anyone out. But the pansexual people are still in consensual adult sexual relationships. So pedosexuals are now looking to infiltrate the LGBTQ movement. And what's happening is they're confusing people. There was a guy on Twitter who's like, I don't know how I feel anymore. I don't know what's wrong anymore. And a lot of the LGBT and Q people are disavowing. They're saying, we don't want those people in here. But then what also is happening is there's people who had accepted LGBTQP, and now that there's another P coming in to try and add itself in, it's like co-opting, that movement. And and now there's people who previously accepted LGBTQP that are now like, oh no, they've taken it too far, and then it's working against them. So these pedosexuals, they've grouped themselves for our benefit so that we understand that some of them are attracted to babies, infants, and some are attracted to like prepubescent kids, and then some of them are in this group that they're like, but we won't ever do anything. We'll never have sex with an infant. We just won't. We know where to draw the line. So it's a pedosexual movement, but it's grouped itself. I just think people should, I respect people for like staying out of nonsense, but I think people should understand that that's happening. All right. I think it's adversely affecting the LGBTQ movement, which I feel like the LGBTQ movement is an inclusive movement, and it's a movement towards unity, love, and acceptance. But when you start to add pedophilia in there, saying that love is ageless, so there's two groups using the love is ageless hashtag, I should say. So there is a group of love is ageless. They're just talking about like young and old, but there still is a consensual aspect of the love is ageless that can't possibly exist between babies, children, and grown-ups having sex. So I just think people should be aware of it's really picking up more steam than I ever thought that it could, and it's making people turn against people who were already accepted, and then there's some people looking in from the outside thinking that it's the LGBTQ people allowing and accepting the pedophilia, but that's not true either. So, all right, I just wanted to say that, and then it cracks me up because all these people marched all over the world. I'm not gonna say that. I love you. This is more than long enough. Just love. All right. Thank you for listening.